So welcome to the Executive Member for Housing and Safer Neighbourhoods decision session. It's Thursday, the 17th of March 2022, and we're here in West Offices. I guess to start with, I'm not Councillor Denise Craghill, as much as I might want to be. Denise is unfortunately quite ill at the moment, and so with permission from the Leader of the Council, I'm substituting for Denise today. Item 1 is declarations of interest. Having looked at the agenda today, I don't believe I have anything to declare other than what is on my register of interests. Item 2 is the minutes, and I think given that I didn't attend the meeting on the 17th of February, we'll probably leave the signing of the minutes until the next decision session, where hopefully Denise is well enough to attend. Item 3 is public participation. Delighted that we do have a member of the public speaking. Councillor Michael Pavlovich, you have 3 minutes, although as you're the only public speaker, I'm not going to time you. So over to you.
Hello, Darryl. I wasn't expecting you here. So my comments are for Denise, because I expected her to be there. So you'll just have to put into your head that you are actually Denise. I'm sure you can do that. Right, I shall make a start. And I'd like to thank the officers for preparing a really clear and informative report, and rarely could one have been more timely or more relevant than now. Whilst it's positive to read that grant funding has been made available to support a programme of retrofitting a very small number of homes to bring them up to a good level of energy efficiency, I do have concerns about this programme. As the report identifies, fuel poverty is now becoming an issue that will hit tens of thousands of households in York. If there were 12,000 households in fuel poverty in 2019, when the average combined fuel bill was £1,360 per year, and from April 2022 will be well over 2,200, and for many will be even higher. Residents will face significant financial stress and increased levels of ill health as a consequence of these unprecedented increases in fuel bills, and also at the same time inflationary pressures and higher food bills. This will lead not just to poor outcomes, but also, I fear, early deaths. It is the poorest in our communities that will bear the brunt of this. Those on low wages or unwaged, including pensioners, will be terrified of what the future holds for them, and will be left with making choices that no one should have to make. A choice between heat or eat is not one anybody should be having to make in this city. I heard only yesterday of a council tenant who was recently found with hypothermia after being too frightened to use his gas and electricity. We cannot allow that to become a reality in York. We need to act and act quickly. 2,500 council houses are below an EPCC energy rating, and you need to do something now to help those households. A plan to retrofit 28 homes and to commission research into the scale of the problem isn't going to cut it, I'm afraid. The cost of living crisis is unfolding before you now, and it is on your watch, and you need to significantly upscale these plans to make more homes energy efficient and therefore cheaper to heat. I can't do it for you. I wish I could, but you are in power, and you need to convince your colleagues on the executive that this is not a time for scoping exercises. It's a time to divert money from other projects into the retrofit programme. We need financial support to help those most in need, but also a way that we can reduce their fuel bills in the long term, and act now before people die of cold or hunger in City of York housing. We know the technology exists. We know what to do. Let's do it, and do it quickly. We owe it to our most vulnerable to show them we feel their pain and will act to help them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pavlovich. And whilst obviously Denise isn't here, I'm sure she is listening in, and I'm sure both the minutes and my conversation with Denise after this will reflect back to her what you've said today, and hopefully the officers will be able to pick up with it as well. So thank you ever so much, Michael. And
Take care.
Good to hear you.
And you.
See you soon. Our next item of business then is the actual main substantive item, which is item 4, the Retrofit programme, the Home Upgrade Grant, HUG, and Social Housing Decarbonisation Fund, SHDF funding, and an update on the development of the Retrofit Action Plan, and that's on pages 7 to 20. And I believe I'm handing over to Michael.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you. So the report before you presents information about the continued success of the programme in attracting grant funding. So we've now attracted over £5.5 million of central government funding, which has been extremely positive. It's enabled us to scale up from not really having a programme 15 months ago to a significant team working to deliver retrofit across hundreds of homes in the city and the sub-region over the next 12 months or so. And that good work has commenced, which I'm sure Ruth can give you more details about if that would be helpful. This money is specifically targeted to energy inefficient homes. So those homes that are typically EPC D and below. And it's also used for those households that are low income families. It covers the different funding streams cover the whole range of tenures, from private rented to homeowners to social housing. And we have also been working with our housing association partners to build knowledge, build capacity and support them with grant funding bids. Ruth will talk in a bit more detail about the specific details of the bids and the procurement to get a delivery partner. But just before I pass over, a bit of an update on the Retrofit Action Plan. So this grant funding is great. It's enabling us to make a really significant start. But as Councillor Pavlovich rightly points out, we've got thousands of homes, both council homes and across the city and a range of tenures that require retrofit works in order to make them warmer, healthier, more comfortable, and also to help tackle fuel poverty, which we're very aware is a growing issue and will continue in the next year. However, the barriers aren't just money, and this is what the Retrofit Action Plan looks to address. So there's significant challenges about knowledge, both homeowners, residents, and within supply chains. And there's a real supply chain capacity issue. This government funding has landed quickly, and it's going to take time for the market to scale up in order to be able to deliver on everyone's growing ambitions. It's not just York that are clearly trying to do this. So the Retrofit Action Plan will build on the climate change strategy, which is coming before executive this summer, I believe, and building on the council's aspiration to be carbon neutral by 2030. Some of the key elements of that Retrofit Action Plan is stock modelling. So it's not just about understanding the current situation. I think we've got a good grasp on the current situation, but the stock modelling also provides details about cost-effective interventions. So we know that this is going to cost millions of pounds, and this data analysis that we're doing over the forthcoming months will help us make better choices about spending money to get the most effective interventions within social housing and supporting homeowners across the city. Linked to the financial challenge, we're looking at comfort charges. So the scale of this problem is beyond the HRA's capability financially. It's beyond what government grant funding is likely to come forward. So we're exploring a range of options whereby we might be able to lever in other funding opportunities, improve comfort and energy efficiency for residents without increasing costs. So some of the savings on energy bills go back and pay for that initial investment. We're doing a lot of work on heat pump. So heat pump is a really good opportunity to decarbonise our homes, but there's a risk around fuel bills. So we're doing a lot more analysis of which homes are ready for heat pumps now and which homes need some retrofit interventions in order to support a heat pump installation. And the big challenge and the big opportunity is incorporating that into our business as usual. So we spend millions of pounds every year on improving, upgrading council homes, and we're really keen to incorporate retrofit as part of business as usual. So retrofit is a key consideration when we do every intervention on a property. The report presents a timeline. So we've already been to scrutiny to discuss the emerging retrofit action plan. We've got some further consultation plan this summer, with the hope of bringing a finalised document before executive in the autumn. I'll now hand over to Ruth, who will talk a bit more about the projects and the procurement of a delivery partner.
Hi, we are in delivery, as paragraph 3 says, about the local authority delivery programmes, which is the acronyms of LAD 1B, LAD 2, LAD 3. Well, we're not quite in delivery of LAD 3, but we've been delivering now LAD 1B since last July. The report actually says our delivery deadline is the 30th of April. That's actually been extended now to the 30th of June, and we just got confirmation of that last week. That's a reflection of the difficulties, I think, across the country about delivery. Michael said about the supply chain issues. We have got supply chain issues in delivering, and also we've got some difficulties, as Michael explained, about engaging with residents and making sure that we are getting the information in a timely way that we can actually do the grant approvals as well. So these programs usually come with a very time-limited delivery time. They are not really very helpful, I've got to be honest. It does make it difficult for us to do, and that's why we're always discussing with government and with the Energy Hub, where the Local Authority Delivery 2 programme is actually, we get the money from, about how we can work quicker and more smartly, and actually just all the time asking for the deadline to be extended so we can actually deliver these programmes. But we are delivering. What we were also, whilst we were delivering the Local Authority 1 and 2 programmes, we found that our current supply partner, Equans, was unable to help us deliver future delivery programmes, which is why we're not delivering with them, and we're having to go out with a new procurement partner. That hopefully will, tendering process could start at the end of this week, early next week. We will have a 7 to 8 week procurement process with a view that we have a procurement partner, a new procurement partner in May. We will have to go through a process of mobilisation again with that new procurement partner. We have a very tight timescale in which to deliver LAD 3, the Social Housing Decarbonisation Fund, and also the new Home Upgrade Grant Programme, which we've just been advised that we can, we've been successful in a reduced submission to government. So basically we have quite a lot of funding to deliver with an existing partner, and in future with a new partner that we'll have to procure and make sure that we have mobilised, and we will have to change quite a lot of our rebranding, our call centre, etc., to ensure that that is delivered smoothly and in time, in a nutshell.
Tracy?
Yeah, just this is a very focused report on these funding sources, but Councillor Pavlovich touched on some of the biggest issues that humanity is dealing with at the moment, and they are global problems, not ones only experienced by City York Council. So yeah, the carbon challenge, climate change, fuel, both for cost and of security of it in the current political environment across Europe, are major issues. We had a scrutiny meeting earlier in the week where we have agreed to follow up on those issues as part of that scrutiny review to concentrate on the unfurling impacts of the cost of living crisis, both on fuel poverty, but also on the HRA's income streams, on rent, on people's ability to pay their rent, and the impact of people then being evicted across the rented sector if they are not paying their rent. So that there's some really big social trends there that we need to keep an eye on. Coming back to the focus on the level of investment required to deal with this one, Michael's right, the HRA does not have the capacity to solve the retrofit problem for the city, nor does the city itself has those problems, and that those are bigger funding challenges, which the work that we're doing is starting to unpick and try and bring into focus, both as a way of how do we address it with our investment, but how do we also position the policy on a national stage, because we are actually, you know, towards the front of the pack on trying to tackle some of these things. And the investment challenges that we face about putting more money into retrofitting our own estate need to be balanced with the other focus for investment that we've got. So we've got huge capital investment in maintaining our existing properties, and there are other health issues that come with diverting our investment away from that. There are other health issues that arise if you don't deal with damp or other issues. We've got major investment going into the adaptation of our properties, which enables people with mobility difficulties or older people to remain at home. Again, another big ticket social issue for the country and the world. And we've got a large-scale programme of new build, increasing the numbers of affordable homes available in the city, which again is another major social problem for the city. And we don't want to create future retrofit problems, but through our new build. So our standards are high in establishing passive house standards from the very beginning. So we are taking a really big picture view of the retrofit challenges. And I think have done really well to you know, commend Ruth and Michael on the work that they've done to get that £5 million additional investment on top of the £2 million that the council's already put to one side. We will be bringing back the big issues in a future retrofit strategy and how we intend to address some of those challenges, but to reflect, I think, a kind of clearer focus on the role of our works in housing standards and adaptations. We're actually renaming Ruth's team. I'm going to hand over to you to tell me what it's going to be called. Healthy and Sustainable Homes. And I think that underpins the pivot of our focus. I don't think you can underpin pivot, can you? I think I've just mixed my metaphors there. But I think that articulates our aspirations for how housing investment and how it affects the council housing of the future.
Thank you very much, Tracy. And I guess underpinning is another home intervention that we might hopefully won't be doing too often. Yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Tracy, Ruth, and Michael. And I was speaking to Denise, well, mainly actually over email, given her illness. Actually, I know we came up with a few words just to, I guess, convey our thoughts. And I guess picking up on Michael Pavlovich's point as a public speaker, I guess agree with an awful lot of what he said. And whilst the experience of the member of the public with hypothermia hasn't and hopefully will never be experienced in York, I think as every ward councillor in York probably knows somebody that you've either stumbled across or has contacted them who are in dire need and are experiencing both the cost of living crisis, the wage squeeze, and then generally launched into fuel poverty. So I think we are generally all well aware of the challenges faced by a great many people out there. And I guess this report, as has been touched on today, will hopefully go quite a long way into supporting those residents. Obviously welcome the further funding that will add to the council's ambitious programme of energy efficiency retrofit for homes over the next 12 months and longer, I guess, given what's just been discussed, both for council housing and in the private rented sector and private sector. It is a huge challenge to scale up the level of work that's needed to reduce carbon emissions on buildings. And I guess I know from my experience with my portfolio, just with the library development programme, how those interventions and making sure that you design buildings that will last for 50 or 100 years without the need to be retrofitted. Those adaptations do cost a lot to get right from the start, as you've said, Tracy. But we do need to achieve those zero carbon targets for the city. I'm pleased, and I know Denise is about the progress so far, and that has included the involvement of scrutiny. And I guess I thank the public speaker for mentioning that as well. And the £5 million plus of capital of projects that have already been implemented and are being implemented, helping inform the development of the plan as it goes. And I guess as an executive member, I really look forward to in the autumn it coming before us all, because I think we can't shout about this work enough, and to make more people aware of the work that the council is doing, but also what they can own, what they can do themselves to make those improvements. And I guess finally, because it's one of the final points, we all welcome the creation of the Healthy and Sustainable Home Service. I agree it better reflects the work and the intention there of the team. And yeah, there are times that the name is important, and so it's very positive. It's very positive to be clear that all services, including energy efficiency, are about delivering healthier and more adaptable homes for occupiers in all tenures. With that, I guess thank you to all the officers and for all the work that's gone into this paper and all the work that, aside from just words on a page, actually gets delivered in the day-to-day. So thank you for that. And with that, I don't have any questions. I'm happy to approve the recommendations on pages 7 and 8. And so if that could be, I guess, minuted. Thank you ever so much. With that, the only remaining item of business today is item 5, urgent business. I won't just shock anyone. We're not going to propose any urgent business to interfere with Councillor Crackhill's portfolio. With that, thank you ever so much for everyone who's managed, Louise and the webcasting team, for making sure we can do today's decision session. And I'll close the meeting there.